on, I think it was Grundy. Ready to go at the SCG. Look at the man bouncing the ball. The most powerful whistle in footy. Razor Ray Chamberlain lets it go. Griffin out of the middle. Pavlich coming through from centre half forward. And Sydney will get the first effective clearance. Jack. McVeigh with a standing start. Looked a little uncomfortable there, trying to win it. Duffield in amongst it. Pressured by Hanbury. And now the mini porpoise, the porpie, Ballantyne with the clearance. As Fremantle looked to get it through De Boer. Alex Johnson did well with a lovely clean pick up there. Kennedy, hasn't he been great this year? Reid going inside 50. McGlynn and cracking in. Fremantle player Ballantyne's hurt himself there as a result of his fierce attack of the ball. In fact, it wasn't. It was Nick Lower really having a crack as it comes to a bit of a halt.
Yeah, Ballantyne, you mentioned BT's an interesting one. He really likes to work up the field. I think it might be Nick Smith that's got him. He really has to come up with him because he does try and free himself up, and then he's very, very good at getting back inside 50. Mentioned the attack on the ball. Looks pretty fierce for both teams early in the game.
Indeed it does. Ball back out. McVeigh got the ricochet back into the gob. Pavlich around the corner, trying to control it, couldn't quite get it done. So a bit of a scrappy affair to start this game here. Getting back into the space there was left for Robert and couldn't get much of it. And now Griffin's going to be left it to do here. Johnson stands by for help, didn't give much assistance. The tackle there by Jack was pretty effective. Now Fremantle with some low ball. De Boer needs to be strong. Kennelly offended with a shoulder tap, said umpire Chamberlain.
Really interesting matchup down here, Brian. Ryan O'Keefe going head-to-head with Matthew Pavlich as midfielders.
Ibbotson to Mazungu. Mazungu about 60 metres out. First entry inside 50 to Fife. Really good hands.
There's that marking ability we were talking about. And it was interesting. That's exactly the way Fremantle warmed up before the game. Kick the ball short, look for that short option, and here they go again.
Looking for McPhee over the top. Couldn't quite get it. Johnson, who's been forward a lot in recent weeks, Roosie. I know you've spent 3 weeks over in the States, but Johnson has spent quite a few weeks forward.
He probably hasn't had his best year, has he? But he's a dangerous player. He's a very, very versatile player.
Free off the ball here. Ballantyne got pushed. It was incidental contact, umpire, and he's going to get a result and free from 30 out. Boy, that was tough.
I didn't see that one, BT, but
yeah, looked like he almost took a little bit of a dive with it as well. I hope the umpire hasn't been talked into that one. Here is Ballantyne. First goal. He did a lot of goal kicking before the game today. In he comes, and he did it at both ends, and there's the dividend.
Yeah, well, I don't know, Jono, whether you saw that, BT, but it's not a great way to start the game, I guess, unless it's definitely there.
Look, here it is. That's it there. That is a joke.
Well, I'm not sure what you can actually pay it for. Is it a trip? Is it a push? I'm not...
It's incidental contact.
Yeah, he's paid against Mumford for being just a little bit physical.
Oh, that's... Yeah, not a poor way to start the game.
Hayden Ballantyne gets a flying start here. His 16th goal for the year. I think he was a little lucky. I think the umpire perhaps just caught with not a great look at that one. Back in the middle as a result, though. Fremantle off to a really good start. Remember, they won here last year, I think for the first time ever it was. McGlynn, Mumford just trying to manhandle and bully his way through there almost. There's McVeigh, one of the great toilers for Sydney. The back here, there's an opportunity for Matner to get it forward. Goods. Silvani head over the ball, did really well to push it to Hayden. Don't they like him back in the side? He's been missing all year. Linking play here. Palmer involved with a handball to Fife. Mumford did well to apply pressure. Hill's in there and eventually worried them out of it. Sydney with some numbers here. Good chain of handballs in with the O'Keefe kick to Goods and presented beautifully for him. He goes to one-on-one looking for the Robert Thompson duel. He led to the middle, and in the end, Goods went back on his left where he shouldn't have gone.
I'll tell you what, there was absolutely outstanding play from Mumford, though. He chased the player down, I think it was 5,
yep,
Jono, and then got back in and actually got the handball, which created the forward momentum. Not a great option from probably Goods. He probably need to hold that one up a bit more rather than just play on.
Gee, the replay of that lead then from Robert Thompson shows exactly how the kicker put him out of position. Kennelly and De Boer in the one-on-one on the outer wing here at the SCG. did well, Ty Kennelly. Gun player. Richards got bowled over in the ferocity from De Boer.
I wonder whether De Boer's got that defensive role, which he's played a bit, Jono, on Kennelly. Obviously, they see him as a pretty important attacking defender.
Yeah, I think De Boer will, when Kennelly comes off, he may have to go to Matner or then Malcheski. I think he'll be the floater between the runners for the Sydney Swans off that part of the ground.
Fife, the third man up in the contest. Into the ground there was Jack. Scrappy bit of play. Griffin just got a little poker on it. Just sent it to the line, but they maintained possession in their forward half, Fremantle. Kennedy waiting to come back on. Has been knocked up 53 games already for Sydney. Kennedy, I think he's played every game for them this year. Hannanbury, they're away. Out of the loop, here's the young man Parker, 26 touches last week. Goes forward, Robert Thompson lost his man, did Ibbotson.
He's got a really good body work from Roberts Thompson. Did play it forward a little bit early in his career and was quite dangerous. Really liked the way the Swans got that quickly out of the stoppages, and then a really nice contest one-on-one. Terrific mark by Lewis Roberts-Thompson.
Just pick up the flight of the ball a lot quicker than Ibbotson and then put him totally out of position.
5 inside 50s for Sydney already. They're on a flying start here. This is their first real good look at it, though. Roberts-Thompson, one of the more experienced campaigners in the Sydney lineup. Very basic kicking style, and it gets the job done. Goal apiece.
It's a little bit of an interesting matchup. I think if they can get that one, although Roberts-Thompson generally goes into the ruck. I mean, Ibbetson's not a great one-on-one contested player, more of a running, rebounding defender. Really nice kick there. Coming into one-on-one, I think you mentioned, John, he really just got lost. Once you lose sight of the ball, as he did there, really it just plays into the forward's hands there. Just got him turned around. Roberts-Thompson kept his eye on the ball, and then a really nice conversion from 30 metres out.
Has a spell, kicks the goal. O'Keefe says, well done, buddy.
And probably an unexpected matchup down that end of the ground too. They're probably expecting Roberts-Thompson to play as a defender, and they've caught him out.
Good conditions now. We thought perhaps a little bit of rain was going to worry us here today, but it's really starting to warm up. And ground conditions pretty good. I noticed the ground wasn't cut all that short. It was very long here. And I guess that's just part of Sydney life with the multi-use of this ground.
Mentioned matchups, John. A good point, because Goods is down there, Reed's down there, Jesse White's down there. You throw a Lewis Roberts-Thompson down there as well. It gives Freo a few headaches.
Griffin, Fife, kept the hands free. Mazungu took it back into the traffic. Did he dispose of that correctly? I suggest not, but the umpire said it was knocked out in the tackle, which is fair enough. Look at Main appealing for the free. And it is. He's got it. So Fremantle have won another one here, directly in front of goal.
Yeah, that's a 50-50. You'd see it again. Marty Matner dropped off the stoppage, goes down. Yeah, probably not in the back. I think Johnson played that well. And once you're in that position, you're pretty much dead in the water.
And you can see his hands making no effort, even though he probably could never have got it out. You just got to show the umpire that you're trying, even if you have no hope. And a 50-metre penalty against the trainer within the 5-metre protected arc around the back of Johnson. A 50-metre penalty. Protected area, heard the umpire. Johnson comes in and gets an easy one as a result. Oh boy.
Yeah, look, he's probably going to slot that one anyway, you would have thought. I mean, you know, 40 metres out compared to 1 inch out. And as I said here, Marty, I think you mentioned BT, really probably couldn't have got it out. But the rule is, if you're down in that position, you've got to at least try to get it out. As you can see, the trainer there. And, yeah, you don't like to see that as a coach.
He was going to go straight through in front of Johnson there and changed his line, which brought the attention on.
Johnson with an easy goal there, kicks his second, and that was a trainer infringement there. And you can see the trainer here in the white just going around the back. Now, you say he did the right thing and went around the back, but it's 5-metre protected area in an arc around the back of the player as well. Here is Kennedy. Great call by the umpire there on that one. Richards, the main tackle was a little highish in my book. Crowd agree. They're quite angry. Play goes on in the meantime, and Sydney will win it anyway with this man Parker. Know much about him, Rosie?
Yeah, look, he's a really hard inside in and under play. A little bit in the Jude Bolton mould. They love him as a player. He played particularly well last week against Gold Coast.
Yeah, well, he replaced Jude Bolton at very late notice. Only told, I think, 15 minutes before the game started. And he had 26 touches of the ball, as you mentioned. Comes back in here to McFarlane. Really quick release, and Fremantle down towards McPhee. And Jude Bolton, a special guest with us today at halftime. David King will have an interview with him. McPhee, I think, is involved in taser guns or laser guns over in the West. I think his family's involved in selling those to the police force. Interesting job. Don't get on the wrong side of him.
Taser gun.
Get the taser
Might have
on
one
it.
tucked in the jockstrap just to bang you.
If we see anyone go down quickly from the Swans, we'll know why.
But something like that.
From a couple of metres away.
It's some sort of bit. I was speaking to his father-in-law on a boat while out surfing one day. Yes, I was surfing. Canali on a ship. High ball. Half forward line. Mazungu got tangled up and got it to the boundary.
He's an important player, McPhee. He was certainly in the first half of the season. Himself and Kepler Bradley were two forwards that were quite a good spark for Fremantle. Their movement was very good, so them coming back into the side in the latter part of the season will certainly help.
Stoppage contest here, and Pavlich just squeezed the little handball out. Did well lower to keep it rolling forward. Here was the laser taser man himself. McPhee couldn't win it. Off hands, and now Grundy. The switcher play to Matner. 29 and 39. Lovely kick to Melcheski. Game 100. The bionic man of footy. Straight up the middle. That is what he's really good at, kicking and running. Not paid the mark here for some reason. Smith got to McGlynn. You can see McGlynn on skates in the middle there. A little slippery. The Richards kick is impressive to Parker. He likes getting the ball. He's got a bit of magnetism about him, and there's a 50. Razor Ray said, you didn't come back when I called you back. And I think Silvani, the infringer. And this will mean Parker will get a close look at it.
Some of the umpires have been on the last couple of weeks, I think, BT, in terms of just coming over the mark a little bit and then not getting back and responding. They'll bring you back 50 straight away.
You're right. They've been hot on it for the last 2 weeks. Players should know as a result. Parker comes in. He's excited about the goal. He gets it. It's his third goal in footy.
There's probably a bit better ball movement there from the Sydney Swans too. They did try and switch it. The first couple of times they got in that last patch of play, they just went down the line. But even though it was a bit of a blue in the centre, I think it was Kieran Jack missed the mark. At least they got on the fat side of the ground. And probably the 3 of the 4 have been pretty easy goals. We saw Ballantyne's free kick. We saw now 2 50-metre penalties. So it's been an interesting start to the game, no doubt. 3 of the 4 sort of almost gimmies.
David King, what did you make of that setup?
Just watch McGlynn there, Brian, work right across from one wing to the other, and he dragged Roger Hayden with him, who was Parker's man. It was great running from McGlynn to leave Parker in a dangerous space at 10.5 forward, created the goal.
Should have been a rebound, so it was clearly out of the outer perimeter circle there. I let it go, said it was line ball, fair enough. A lot of players converging.
King, you mentioned Harvey before the game about the centre bounce. Already now we're seeing it's treacherous in the middle there. Like you mentioned before, Benny McGlynn with the skates on. I think there's a few out there, BT, with the skates on.
Yep. Does look pretty slippery in this area where they are now. Griffin. A bit of a crack at it there. Kieran Jack. Smith run down by the main tackle. Not before he got the kick in the direction of Roberts Thompson. Grover. Underneath, they do well. Silvani going to the ground, and here they go. Lower. The Hill to the left-footed. Stephen Hill. Looking for Fife in front. He's really good in the air. They would know that. Fife, Nate the Knife Fife. Got it in there to Zach Clark. And Clark has not kicked a career goal in his 31 games.
Well,
sorry, in his 14 games.
We can't really assess how this is going to go then, BT. We all wait and see what sort of result. Hopefully he gets his first goal in league footy.
Zach Clark from 51 metres out. Plenty of journey about it to the near side, though.
Just Stephen Hill involved in that passage of play, John. He's going to have a tough day. He's got Reece Shaw, looks like he's running with him the whole day. Even though Shaw hasn't touched it, his main role will be to stop Hill, and Hill's had only the one possession so far.
Gee, De Boer did well to unload Shaw. Here's the little man, Ballantyne, the boy from Mandurah in Western Australia.
Brian, this is the area where Sydney are dominating at the moment. The clearance work from the Swans is really coming to the fore. 8-2 at the moment, 3-0 in terms of centre clearances, but their counter-attack from these situations has been great.
Well, they love it, don't they? It was the Paul Roos mantra for many years, stoppage kings of the competition. Palmer, lower. Now Ballantyne. Oh, he tried to sell some foot and hand candy out there, and he was gobbled up in a multiple triple tackle. Was Hayden. Palmer brushes them aside. Good kick by Silvani, no real length in it. McVeigh is dragged over the line in the Palmer tackle.
Ballantyne's actually done that quite well, getting the space he has, because his direct opponent, Smith, now he's back in the goal square on McPhee, so he's actually worked his way into the contest to get himself free.
And, yeah, try to lose his man in this traffic, you mean, Johnny?
Definitely.
Yep. Good lesson for young players. If you're closely monitored, get into some traffic, your player will get sucked to the ball, and away you go. McGlynn. Handball to Shaw, had trouble standing up, had the awareness and poise though to get it back inside. Grover just bulldozing his way through. McVeigh, the benefit of the bad handball, finds Hanbury around on his left. The lead of goods, got Hayden. Slippery, slippery, slippery. De Boer now. He's hovering over that. That's almost a free against Melcheski now.
It's a really poor kick by Hanbury. You had Goods versus Hayden, one out in the goal square. Just need to give it some height, stick it over the top. It just dropped it short.
I don't know why players don't put the screw-ins on, Rosie.
And let me tell you, coaches remind players every single game.
So is that a Hayden as a quick shot at goal here? The Hayden Goods. Now, you like that matchup, Rosie, from a Sydney point of view?
Well, I think you mentioned before about Hayden down, Ballantyne down one end, losing Nick Smith. I think both coaches seem to be mixing up their forward line, which is creating mismatches at different times. You can see here, you've got Goodsy, and just that kick really needed to be nice and high over the top. He had it position A, and Hanbury just didn't kick it well enough.
Gee, great work by Goods to Kennedy then. The palm down was magnificent. And Kennedy thanks him for that.
Hill's going to be a little bit careful on Shaw too here, because Hills looks like he's playing behind the ball, Jono, and sure he can kick goals.
Griffin. Over the top of it was Craig Bird.
Has to be another stoppage. You'd like to maybe see Hill come and play as a half forward. Even if he does get the 10 disposals for the game, you know probably 9 are going to be quality inside 50 balls.
Well, you certainly don't want him sitting in the goal square on Reece Shaw like he is at the moment.
Fife in a half slam tackle. He was unloaded of the ball. Congested passage of play.
You've got to try and find. Hill can dictate here, so he needs to try and find where Reece Shaw is the most uncomfortable, and whether that's out of the goal square deep, put him in a marking situation to give himself some sort of advantage.
Griffin, Silvani involved, Main trying to keep it rolling forward as well, and now Mazungu.
I think the key to it is now, Johnny, now Hill should be running up. Now, maybe he is playing as a designated back pocket half back. We don't know. We don't know what the matchups are. But you can still see Hill here. Looks like he's actually playing on Shaw.
Yeah, well, Shaw, one of their dangerous runners from the back half, Rosie. Possible kick goes in Hayden. They really need this guy back playing his best footy. He's so important to them, that deep defender of some running ability. Look at Hill work back onto his left. That was a beautiful slide of the ball. The give and go McPhee. He saw out the corner of his eye the big man Griffin. He said, I'm just going to mongrel this one in. Main in front is good overhead as well. Got a bit of a belt around the ear from Ted Richards. Here's the little man Ballantyne. Back to Main. He thought about the right footer. Clear space for McPhee. Handball hit the deck. Mumford goes at it. And Sydney do well in the end. Canali. He just got boot to ball. Magnificent stuff. Hill and Shaw. Zach Clark got the hands free. Have a look at the little mini handballs that Sydney give in the tight space. They're artists at that particular skill. Back inside Broughton. Keeps Fremantle alive. Hill desperate at the ground level. Picked up by Lower. Umpire said not 15. And they get it out of trouble, Sydney, but look at all the purple jumpers. Johnson. to Grover. Grover's got a running McFarlane through the middle with space. A high ball. Pavlich sets himself. He got a bit of a knock out of the way. 3 Sydney players hit the deck.
They did. They had the chance then, Fremantle, through the middle of the ground, keep going to the fat side of the ground. They actually had Sydney outnumbered by a player. If McFarlane had changed his run and tried to work behind Grover the other way, they would have been in a better position, Rizzy.
I just think neither team is really trying to spot targets at the moment, John. It's a real up-tempo game, and it's just not working for either side. Both teams are dropping a player off at stoppages. The quick kicks, we've seen this a number of times for the Swans. Kingy mentioned earlier on they're dominating the stoppages, but Freo is sitting one off the back.
Melcheski, lovely foot skills. Reid, I love marking it out in front. And the Dukes, McGlynn. Goods. Look at the run of Goods, Jono. He's onto it. Getting back, Fremantle did well. Duffield needs help. Kennedy, commitment, taken away, Broughton. A bounce through the slippery middle area. Mains 2-on-1 here. He's kept it alive in front. Got the handball to Pavlich, left foot. Really difficult kick. Smith. Bird. Game 54 for this young player. Doing Jack.
I think, BT, this is what we probably need to see either side. The first team that just does this well is just hitting targets. But again, there, Kieran just going for a long bomb, which plays into the hands of the Dockers.
Parker, gee, clean hands. Bird got dealt an unfair blow, said the umpire, and a free kick will go the way of Jesse White.
Now, Jesse's really got to look for a target here.
He does. Squares it to Melcheski. Now, is he in range there, Ruzi?
I reckon he just about is there. It's a beautiful low kick. Sometimes he tries to kick it a bit too hard, but if he times this nicely, it's not beyond him.
Now, McPhee's given himself 3 or 4 metres on the mark, so he can come forward. Melcheski looking for a bit of firm ground. Went low. Didn't find the firm ground, I reckon.
Yeah, I think you knew
McPhee was going to jump then. He could have nearly tried to take him on the left foot.
A little bit of facial massage there from the up top work. I don't know whether that's anything to worry about. I think it probably will be looked at. Jono, Robertson.
I think they will have just a little look.
Sit there smiling at me. I think everyone at home gets the picture of you sitting there smiling.
Smiling again.
Alex Johnson back inside Goods. Plenty of runners from behind. He wanted Melcheski. Goods just off the outside of the boot a little. McVeigh. Handball to Canelli. Just hammered it to McGlynn so hard it bounced off his chest. Fife.
Well, that's two so far in this quarter that have come straight off McGlynn's chest like that.
De Boer to Ballantyne. The little man that plays with such great enthusiasm. Got it inside. Canelli did well. Goods. Clever little tap kick to Roberts Thompson, who remained composed over the ball. Shaw, McPhee, and out of bounds.
Just a real issue at the moment, Jono, is this footing. I think it's really affecting the game, both from a kicking perspective and guys changing direction. I'd be staggered to think players wouldn't be changing their boots at quarter time.
Look, Mark Harvey spent a long time out on the ground pre-game. And as you say, Ruzi, I'd be incredibly surprised if you didn't tell every player to get the longest stops when you can.
Not every player has them, though. That's the issue.
Jono, they're professional footballers. Don't give me that.
I'm giving you that.
Not every player has a long pair of stops.
No.
Some players refuse to wear them.
They do.
White. McVeigh. Stunning acknowledgement from Brad Johnson there. McFarlane marks last line.
Because the moulds these days, they are a lot longer.
Yep.
So when it is a bit slippery, you can actually hold your feet wearing a mould. The comfort.
The longer version of the mould then.
But when it like it is in the middle, you need the screw in for total support for your feet.
I just think even on the last one with McVeigh trying to kick around the corner, he just didn't have the confidence to plant his foot. That ball only went about 25 metres, so it's having a significant impact in all parts of the game at the moment.
Here is the man, McVeigh. Cut off, just trying to be a bit too cute there now. Fremantle had nothing on downfield. Thus, the poor kick to Johnson. He just wasn't able to compose himself and look sideways.
Yeah, look, BT, at the moment, both teams are finding it really hard to just spot targets, just to slow the game down a tad and get an easy scoring shot. Even there, we see it again, a turnover going inside 50.
I think they're holding their own at the moment, Roosie and BT and Jono, with the general play work. But this stoppage problem is going to be a real issue for Freo shortly.
Johnson pulled the kick deliberately to Pavlich. Not much on deep.
You're right, Kingy. 13-2.
There's Hayden got forward, knocked away desperately by Marty Matner. And a bit of post work from Roger Hayden.
Well, I think at the moment, Kingy, what's saving them is the fact that they have had a player off the back of the stoppage. So it's not. It does a great effort by Marty Matner to get back. It hasn't hurt them at the moment, but you're right. If they keep getting that much ball around the stoppage, it will hurt them.
Bend over, Roger. Grab the ball. Trying to soccer it out of mid-air when you've got no one between yourself and the goal behind line. Greg Broughton. Robertson. Unusual looking fringe.
At the moment, you've got O'Keefe just sitting right in the hole.
High ball, McPhee in front from behind. They spoil each other in the end. Kennedy almost tripped over himself. That's an ugly kick going out in the direction of Lower.
It's exactly what Kingy was talking about before the game. The ball getting in deep, but then Fremantle midfielders and defenders pushing up to create that pressure. So put some pressure on us forwards, quick kick out. You keep that ball inside your forward half.
So Lower will line up here. He thinks he's within range. His teammates were confident. There's the task ahead. Bit of angle about it, isn't there? The left foot up from right on 50. Got plenty of leverage coming back. Not enough. Hit the post in the end, the outside of the post. David King, what do you make of the form line of these sides? Both coming off wins against Gold Coast. Of course, Fremantle had the bye last week.
Yeah, exactly right, Brian. I think these two sides are really struggling for form. When you look at the quality sides that they've beaten, Sydney have beaten the West Coast and Essendon, and Fremantle have beaten Essendon as well, but I don't think Essendon in that stage were going that well, so it's hard to read.
Hands in the back from Jesse White, and that's a clear free. Even though he probably didn't impact on the marking, and 50 metres for not giving it back immediately. So this is the third 50-metre penalty that'll probably result in the third goal.
That's tough, isn't it? Yeah. Very tough, but we're seeing the umpires stamping themselves on the game early, Jono. I guess they're sending a message to the players in terms of those 50-metre penalties.
Now the trainer's within 5 metres again there. They've missed that one. The number 2 trainer was within about 2 metres of where Grover is. They've actually missed that one. Grover comes in, stumpy kick to the left, but it's good enough for a goal.
Yeah, well, you got 3 goals to Freo, and I think they're playing okay, the Dockers, but we're looking at the goals here. Look, that's a free kick and the hands in the back. Not that they play it that often these days, but certainly under the letter of the law. And then
have a look at the trainer. Oh, you can't quite see it here.
So we've had free kick, the questionable free kick to Ballantyne, then 2 50-metre penalties. So it's been a fortuitous start.
Now look at the trainer there on the left-hand side. He was within about 2 metres. Anthony Grover kicks the goal there, third for the Fremantle Dockers, and trainer certainly infringing on the 5-metre protected area there that was not picked up. So some inconsistency there. Ray Chamberlain likes the middle for the bounce. He's been having a bit of trouble getting it up in the air of recent weeks. There's Goods, rips it out of the middle, can go all the way. 40-35, closing missed.
Well, I'm not sure, John, was he having a shot? I'd like to see that again.
Well, he had 2 Fremantle players in front of him, so he had to have a shot at goal.
Now here's the, I think we're going to roll a replay. We might just go with the live play first. In front is Griffin, off hands, quick kick, Hanbury goal.
Well, Roosie, that dominated stoppages. Maybe Goodsy wanted to kick it out deliberately so that they could turn around and get a stoppage and score from it. 16-2 in that area through clearances, and that's where you spoke about how they will be able to take some dominance if it continues that way. Fremantle certainly need to have a good look at that.
Yeah, look, a really good finish there. Nice goal, quick hands from the rising star, Dan Hanbury. That's a nice finish. dangerous around forward stoppage as always, the Swans.
Dan Hanbury, just his 3rd goal this year from every game that he's played. A young fella out of Xavier College in Victoria. Conditions getting even brighter here at the moment. Great news for the crowd that have come along. Mumford had a little bit too much hardness in that handball to Goods, had a bit of trouble handling it. Recovered though. Smacking through there was Hanbury again. Duffield tried to back out. Just got rid of it. Now Jack goes in. Was he driven forward in the Duffield tackle? He was.
And this is really the entry they've had trouble with, the Swans now. Just about 70 metres out. Trying to find a target. That's a nice kick to advantage.
It is. It was meant for Roberts-Thompson, but Jesse White got there.
We're just changing the angles there, BT, rather than just going straight down the line. You can see Kieran Jack just putting it out the event. I think there was 3 players there. We had Lewis Roberts-Thompson there. I think Reece Shaw was running into space as well, and then Jesse White eventually marked it.
So White lines up with about a 40-metre kick. Kick on the way is too far to the left.
If they get that scoring shot, Bruzy, on the back of Hanbury crashing the contest here, small player coming through and creates that contest. Jack then was able to get the free kick on the back of his great effort.
Yeah, he's good. Sorry, Bruce. Sorry, he did a really good job because Hayden looks like he's been the one that's dropping off all the time, and he was the one free again. It was a really good contest, 1v2.
Gee, there's only 5 seconds left here. Comes back into Hanbury. Can they get the kick away? 4 seconds. Just about turned it over. The Dockers saved on the siren in the end. Sydney very much in this. The Dockers 20 points apiece at quarter time. Some 50-metre penalties in the game as well. But it's a good game of football. Conditions getting better and better. Second quarter on the other side of the break.